I hope that you have in your hands, or soon will have, my poetry collection, Ultimatum Orangutan, or Ultimatum Orangutan. It's the same title in both Indonesian and English. I think the earliest poem in that book is from circa 2013 or 2014, so it's been a slow process of accumulating poems that fit into this kernel, this orb of a book that I have wanted to create. It's a book about disability as a disabled woman. It's a book about environmental injustice, and I think it's really important to say environmental injustice rather than climate injustice, which falls under environmental injustice. But I feel as though climate justice is often portrayed through a Western lens of this might happen to us if we don't do something soon about the climate. But in fact, everything that Western people are afraid of happening to them, sea levels, flooding, and destruction of populations has been going on under colonial capitalism for a really long time. All of our the palm oil that, Indonesia is the largest producer of palm oil is created at the expense of indigenous communities whose lands are raised and stolen from them, and they have to be kicked out of their lands. So I really wanted to emphasize that and to show the direct through line between the beginning of Anthropocene, which scholars Zoe Todd and Heather Davis, drawing from lots of indigenous knowledge systems, understand to begin at the beginning of colonialism. Anthropocene does. I really wanted to draw that direct line between colonialism and climate crisis and all the other kinds of environmental injustices that have been happening all along, that continue to happen to feed our need as consumers. And I really also wanted to put across my point of view about this very stratified, still very colonial world that we live in, through perspectives that my family, that my traditions of being Javanese and Minang have taught me. And the book is dedicated to four grandmothers of mine. Minangkabau is the largest matrilineal society in the world, so the bloodline runs through the mother. And I thought it would be appropriate in a book about survival to dedicate to them as people whose survival meant that I could be here. And the many, 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 many people in our pasts that have had to survive in order for us to be here. I wrote this poem inspired by the fact that so many beaches around Indonesia, where I'm from, have been taken up by private corporations and private resorts, and locals cannot access them anymore. Indonesia has the world's largest shoreline. It has over 17,000 islands, I believe, and this is a phenomenon you see everywhere. And also, I wanted to mention the Javanese ocean goddess Niroro Kidul because as a kid, she was always portrayed as being like really fearsome and as like this evil goddess that you should be afraid of, and she would swallow up sailors. And as I grow older, I've come to have a lot more empathy for this goddess Niroro Kidul, and so I wanted to write a poem where actually she is in communion with the people involved in the poem, ascertaining quietly to herself that security is going to come. Perimeter Blues. Squint wishing a mist to rise from the ether of beach resorts deadened, sand returning its infinite color, bark lying still for 100 years. Children led back to the bay where once it spat away ownership, when most knew the names for a shore's domed soul in dialect. My God, you're right, the sea, all land adjacent, God spirit cordoned from me, sit here while toes feel an ocean goddess. And she, Niroro Kidul, quietly ascertains that security will be coming for us shortly.